Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Hope you're doing well out there, and if you guys could subscribe, that'd be great, and appreciate you stopping by. So the Miami Heat, it's Saturday. They're off today, and they will be back at it on Sunday as they continue Summer League, and it's been interesting how this has gone on because yesterday we got a little bit of satisfaction in Kasparas Yakachonis having a breakout performance, though I will say people are going to eat this up with this kid because the accountability from this kid, I told you yesterday, I don't really care about the results of the game, even though that was not a very impressive fourth quarter. Coach Glass was not pleased with it based on his press conference. I mean, there's a great article today. You guys can go check it out about Erik Glass. I think it came out a couple days ago, actually. A nice profile piece done by Anthony Chang, who's as good as it comes when it comes to like profile. I remember Anthony's Palm Beach Post Bam on a bio for his profile. Like, he's really good at that stuff. So if you guys want to learn about the Heat Summer League coach, go check it out. But a lot of it's talking about just how he's like mini Spo, even just down to like the hair. And it's funny because he's answering his press conferences like he's Erik Spoelstra. It's like, whoa. It's basically like it feels like they just built another Spo in a lab. It's hilarious. So he was not pleased with that performance, but neither was Kasparas. Kasparas went out and he goes, yeah, my scoring was good, but boom, like right off the bat, he goes, other areas of my game, not good enough. Defense, not good enough. Rebounding, not good enough. And I was like, man, if everybody, you're saying exactly what everybody wants to hear. I mean, like that is exactly what you want to hear from a kid who just cooked and had his great performance. It's really an awareness. It's an accountability. He wouldn't talk about what advice he got. There were some cool pictures of Udonis Haslem, who was doing work for NBA TV. And then we saw UD during the broadcast. He was on the sideline next to Zoe. And he would not reveal any of the advice or talks with Udonis Haslem, only that he has gotten a bunch of advice from UD. But Udonis Haslem on the sidelines made me think immediately about what has been happening with last year's first-round pick. And I think now this swings to what the biggest storyline is of Summer League in some ways, and that is Kel'el Ware and what to make of this, right? This is a guy out last year who averaged almost 10 points a game, averaged over 7 rebounds a game, over a block a game in his rookie season. He was second-team all-rookie. He had a sensational rookie season where he was basically a starter halfway through. Had a lot of struggles in the postseason for sure, but I think all in all, everybody came away with that very excited about what the Kryptonians' future is. As I'm gonna go see Superman in a couple hours with my son. I do not expect a Kel'el Ware cameo in this version of Superman, but look, man. Right now, it seems to be his kryptonite is giving all of the effort that may be needed in this. And I think what everybody really wants to see is just him to absolutely annihilate the glass. And the thing that stood out with that Hawks game, and Coach Glass, no pun intended, wouldn't put all the blame on Kel'el. He put it on a team effort, but they had 20 offensive rebounds given up to the Atlanta Hawks. They got absolutely smoked in the fourth quarter. And yeah, it's just I said this yesterday after the recap, in that I can look away from the first game because the fourth quarter I thought that he kind of took over and in a defensive mindset and shut the door on that. The second game, the game kind of stunk, and 28 points, 3 rebounds. Not impressive by any means, but all right, it wasn't a very good game. Lakers kind of got the jump on him. And then, he missed the last game. Vlad Golden played. They played really well. The team played really well. And then you have this last game, and it's like, it felt like it was motoring towards like, all right, another ho-hum, not a bad game. But then like you have the result of a collapse in the fourth quarter, and you're kind of left with like, all right, where is the Kel'el Ware we're all expecting? Because he had some great quotes in the lead up to summer where he was talking about not being in the Kevin Durant trade and how how he wanted to prove them right. He wanted to make sure that the Miami Heat made the right decision in not including him in KD talks. And I also, I don't want the ire of the fan to go towards a place where it's like, could have had KD if they traded him, which was something that all summer I was like, yeah, I think if they did trade Kel'el Ware, they probably would have gotten Kevin Durant. I think. But it never seemed like it broached that because the Heat make it seem like they never felt like they were close on Kevin Durant. They wanted to only get him at bargain basement deals. So right now we find ourselves in a position where there is an expectation from the fan base to improve. I don't expect, Kel'el Ware to come out here and, average 15 and 12 this year. I'm not expecting even like this huge leap from him. But we talked about the physicality that he's going to have to deal with. But I don't even think I look at Kel'el and I was like, yeah, this guy is he physically overwhelmed? Certainly Jared Allen, he vetted him a little bit. That's going to happen. A rookie is going to have his welcome to the NBA moments. But I think the weight, okay, he's put on the weight and he I think can handle the physicality. Just from watching him, it does seem like he's got to put it in gear the entire time. And look, this was the red flag on him. We talk about why do guys draft? Why are guys not number 1 overall picks? Why are guys not number 5? The thing on him, and the only thing that really popped up on him, was what happened at Oregon and that he didn't, play as hard as he needed to all the time, and then transferred to Indiana. And Coach Woodson tells a story about, his mom telling him, hey, do everything you can to get this kid driving. And to, Mike Woods Grizz. And yeah, Kel'el listened and he worked his butt off and he had a really good year for Indiana. And I don't think anybody has said about Kel'el that he's not a hard worker. And clearly I remember talking to Alonzo Mourning on the draft night and saying that, this kid has been in the gym. He doesn't have to be in the gym as much as he's been in the gym. And Spo said yesterday, he put on 8 to 10 pounds of muscle. So I don't think this is a guy who doesn't work hard. But one thing that it can be a little squirrely with giant people that's different from guards and wings and all these guys who are flying around all the time is, I just think to the eye, it can be a lot more noticeable if they're not going full speed balls to wall. And it's just one of those things that fans don't have a lot of tolerance for, they will call you out because they think, if I was that tall, I would do X, Y, and Z. So I'm just hopeful that this guy can have a game, hopefully the next one, that just gets the jackals off a little bit, because ultimately, look, this kid really did shine in his rookie season. Let's not lose the plot. He was really, really good last year, and I think he's going to have a really good Heat career. But the question is he untouchable good? And who's going to take the bigger jump this year? Is it going to be him? Is it going to be Nico? I don't know, but I do know it took even Nico, not necessarily from a hard play standpoint. He actually really did have to beef up physically and hold up physically, and I think still has some things that he needs to show this year of being able to dominate smaller guys, because people are going to put smaller people on him, and he's going to have to be able to show that he can bully them. I think we showed flashes of that a little bit last year. It's unfortunate that the hand injury happened. But from Kel'el's standpoint, is this a cause for concern? I have a hard time putting it to the level of concern. But I think there's probably an element that even the organization's a little frustrated. That's come on, dude. We know you're better than this. And maybe this is one of those games, because I do feel like there was an emphasis of getting I do think there was an emphasis of getting Kasparis the ball in his hands and letting him get into his comfort zone the last game a little bit more. I think you saw it was a first half, it felt all Cass, and then second half, Pella got his turn. So, maybe there needs to be, an emphasis of getting big men. I always think this too. It's very important to get big men involved early in games for all they do, for all you ask them to do with rebounding and blocking and boxing out. I think it's important to feed the big man every once in a while. I think Bam has gotten, hung out to dry. This used to happen to Chris Bosh all the time. But you can't make every excuse under the sun for him. I want to be like, yeah, it's not that big a deal, because I like this guy as a player, and it was a real enjoyment to see, and especially I think he did some things as a rookie that were just like, whoa, he does like Kel'el, the name Kel'el aside, and the Kryptonians, he does look at times like, this guy looks like he's from another planet with the circus shots, with the blocks, with the dunks. It's unbelievable. But it's just keeping that little thing going the whole time. So that's the hope, right? Like, this isn't a session where I'm in any way ripping the guy, because that would be stupid. It is summer league, and we've seen him in actual basketball games be a very productive player. But I do think everybody's looking at me like, there's got to be more meat on the bone here. And it needs to be better. So that's the hope. Because the Heat have 3 games on the schedule. I think they'll have one more. That's once all the results are bared out. But they got a game Sunday and Monday. I doubt he's going to play in both of those games. And then there's one more on Thursday. If he has a good, will he even play in those games? I don't know, because typically I wasn't even expecting him to play, even this many games, because that's not typical. They do want to figure out jobs and all that type of stuff, but I think that there is probably an element of them that's like, all right, let's nip this in the bud. Let's get a big time performance. And look, it can change like that, because we were all thinking like, is Yakachonis going to have a year ride in the pine? And, look what he did this last game. I understand it's a sophomore to rookie comparison, but I'm just saying it can flip very, very quickly. I don't even think it takes a game. I think, like, can Kel'el Ware come out here? Can he dominate for 7-8 minutes, look like the freakiest freak on the floor, and put a lot of that at ease? So we'll see. Actually, just as I was about to finish this puppy up and upload it, some quotes have come out from Heat practice today. Erik Spoelstra addressed the media today, and there's a couple things that were of note from Heat practice. One, Kel'el Ware practicing was doing drills in the post. Saw Anthony Chang. He posted that Udonis Haslem was going through drills with Kel'el in Las Vegas. And mind you, there's no way that Udonis Haslem is pleased with Kel'el Ware's lack of rebounding. If there's anything that's going to ever piss Udonis Haslem off more. And mind you, Udonis Haslem, I think, went on ESPN that the day of that game and was like, kind of singing the praises of Kel'el. But there's a quote here from Anthony Chang. I don't know what the tone is. I'm reading tweets, but I figured this, I'm doing this video today, so it'd be weird to post this while I have this info and not just come on here and riff a couple more minutes on this. But Erik Spoelstra says, this is from Anthony Chang, he says, Kel'el Ware needs to improve his, quote, professionalism. And Anthony adds, quote, the talent is there, Spoelstra added. Man. Whew. That's something, dude. That is something. A couple tweets from Ira that said, he emphasized, Erik Spoelstra continues to emphasize for Kel'el Ware, quote, he has to get better with professionalism. He says he has to take ownership from it. Jeez. And he said that another tweet from Ira, Erik Spoelstra says Nikola Jovic has grown with professionalism, but still wants to see more. Says Ware can follow Jovic's path. Damn, dude. I'll tell you something. That's something. That is something. That kind of look, I was going easy, and I'm not hitting the panic button, but I cannot act like that's not a big deal. And I think that you could see it in Eric Glass's face yesterday. He's said it throughout that he's wanted to see more domination. Strong from the coach to have that on your center. You know, a guy who says he knows he has the talent, but talking about professionalism, it's interesting because he did sing his praises about his professionalism. So there's a purpose about it because he went on ESPN yesterday and he was very pro Kel'el. So if you don't think that whatever the hell's happened over these couple of games, that hasn't rubbed the Heat the wrong way, well, I guess now we have our answer. Now we have our answer from the Heat. Because if Spo's coming out there publicly, and you know Spo, let me tell you something. That is not his deal. He is not a call players out in the media type of guy. That is not Erik Spoelstra's way. That's not what he typically does. So if he's doing it, they've gotten to a point. That's a big deal. He never does that. Never does that. I remember like Hassan Whiteside starting to fight players. It took like 2 fights for him to like even make a thing of it. Look how long he went with the Jimmy thing. Kept that under wraps. He never does that. So for Spo to come out here and put that out there, man, he definitely wants to see more. So I'm going to see. Hey, big response needed tomorrow from number 7. That there's an old saying that I like to put on my show. The facts have changed. You know, you're volling down to take it. And again, I'm trying. I went in today and I'm like, all right, let's do something on Wear. It's obviously the big thing everybody's talking about. I'm trying not to hit the panic button on it. I'm trying to be understanding. Again, I'm a big Kel'el Ware fan. I like watching Kel'el play. Some of this stuff has been undeniable, but the coach coming out there and saying that, damn. I mean, that's very interesting for Spo to come out here and make that known about Kel'el, that he's out here and he's not happy with his performances so far. Because yesterday he was doing the opposite on TV. He was on ESPN. He was like, you know, a lot of talent, development, patience, but it's put on the muscle. And, you know, mind you, this is a couple of days removed from the Miami Heat hearing, or from Kel'el Ware saying about the Miami Heat that he wants to make sure that, you know, they made the right decision. So that's something. Spo also said, just for other notes, I'm not going to do the whole thing but he also said that on Andrew Wiggins, that Andrew Wiggins is in South Florida and he believes him that he's going to be a part of the rotation this year. That they're going to be relying on Andrew Wiggins, but that's interesting. I'm interested to see what the tone of this is, but all the reporters boots on the ground were like, he was pretty strong about it, that Erik, that he is not feeling like Kel'el Ware is playing up to snuff. Spo never does that. That is interesting.